All right, let's see. All right, I'm gonna put this connection trim up here, and that's the trim that you see right here, and that's what tucks over top of the steel on the roof. We'll have a closure strip that goes in there to make sure no wind-driven rain or nothing goes up into that, but this is what'll flash the sidewall connection from the wall steel up and over the roof steel so we don't get any water at that connection point. And what we like to do is whenever we've got a pitch on our wall, which is what we're standing on now, so the roof has a 412 pitch, I like to use what's called pitch break, and we have metal sails. Go ahead and put a 412 pitch on that so that when it lays on our roof, it goes right up to the sidewall nice and tight. But I can't do that because then I would not be able to get my steel underneath of it. So I gotta calculate the exact angle and the height of the rise on the rib of steel so that when I install this later, we'll tuck our steel right underneath of this and everything will be perfect. What I gotta do is get the back dimension, which I already know, 4 inches. We'll get this out of the way for now, snap some lines. And now if you're looking at this steel here and you were to take a measurement of the steel in plane, basically 7/8. So I always give ourselves 7/8. So what I'm gonna do is mark 4 and 7/8 from the plane of the top of our sheeting. All right, let's get our pencil nice and sharp. Those accurate marks. Make a mark right where my roof sheathing planes in, and then I'm gonna go ahead and mark 4 and 7/8. What I like to do is just go ahead and put my tape at 14 and 7/8. That way I can just go ahead and mark 10 inches. 7/8. Now, since I don't have the roof steel on, I don't know exactly, I don't know exact where this is going to end up. I always leave it long. Whatever this width of the trim is, I leave it long that same amount. And I'll do the same thing over here on this side, but I'll leave it just a little bit longer because as the roof steel pitch could change, I want to make sure I've got enough material that I can always cut it back if I have to. For this transition here, I need to also define my snap line going up the roof. It gets a little tight up here. Now this is what'll slide into that other piece of trim. Just make a little notch. What that does is when I'm measuring my 106 and 1/8, I can use that little notch just to grab my tape measure so I can be exactly where I want to be. I'm only going to be about 9 degrees, 9 1/4 for my splitting that 412 there for the miter. Now this is a 46.51 degree angle, and that's really hard to do really well with a square in this situation and to get it accurate. So I'm going to grab a different tool. So what I've got here is the Stabila Tech 700. And this is a digital angle finder, and it also is a level. So think of it like a compass. It's a little bit bigger than I would really want for this application, and they do make a smaller one. I just don't know where it's at. I have it somewhere. But anyway, I'm looking for 46.51 degrees. I'm just gonna go ahead and move it till this says 46.5. It doesn't do 100ths, it only does tenths, so I can only do 46.5. And now what I can do is I can use it to get my angle here. There we go. So I'll just lay this right in there, and then I'll use my square to get exact right where this is. Now what that should be is it should be my valley line. These things come in really handy. Think about when you're laying some sheeting. If you're not savvy and you don't want to do math, you can see that if I line this up with the edge of my sheeting, it's going to go right down into my valley, right where it should be, because we did use mathematics to get these sheets cut. So they're 46.5, 1 degree angle right here. If you didn't have that, you could set this in there, maybe running some siding up an end wall. You can make sure that your level is level. Put this at the angle of the roof and it's going to give you the exact pitch. So if you don't know how to use, you know, maybe the calculator to figure that out, this is pretty darn easy. You're just going to make it level, run it to your roof line, and it'll give you the exact readout. So handy tool to have around. Necessary, no, but pretty darn cool. All right, so now that I have this angle figured out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and snip just the hem off, and my other trim is going to be laying on top of this. So what I've got to do, I don't need all this excess, so I'm just going to basically leave myself like 4 inches. And then I can bend this guy. There we go. So notice that I have this top leg is bending over this leg, and that'll help water continue to go down. So now we can go ahead and slide this in place. Now, if I did my job right, where these 2 lines cross should be right there. Looks pretty darn good. So just to kind of simulate, this is what the sheet of steel is going to do. This is a 3/4 inch rib, so it'll go underneath there, and it'll be nice and pitched appropriately based on the mathematics. So now we're going to have this piece. It's going to come over top, and this is a piece of universal sidewall. See, it's got this bend here, and instead of just being flat, this goes over a rib versus this lays on top of the rib, because now we're going to be on the side of the steel running parallel to it, not perpendicular. I'll do that same 46.51 degree cut here and get this to line up out here as good as possible. Now you may be asking me, this looks kind of ugly right now. Well, I've got 2 different trim profiles coming together, and this is not up to plane just quite yet. I think it's gonna turn out good when we're all done, and then you'll see how it shapes up. So make sure you stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, now that I've got my peak defined, what I can do, I have to come from both sides. Come on, baby. I'd say 46 and almost 3/8. So that 46 3/4 is long point. Come down 412. All right, it's gonna get tight here. Let's hope everything lines up. I don't wanna have to do this more than once. Well, there we go. I got my cap on. I've got it lapped a couple times. Our ridge cap will also go under that. We'll put some bead of sealant, some OSI Quad Max, but now we've got these details done. All right, well, that was my first project for the day, was to get all of these flashings done, and what I'll do next is I'll go ahead and put some tape above there. I really don't think it's necessary. Personally, this wrap isn't here for moisture, it's not for water. There shouldn't be any water getting back behind there, but I know it's probably, what the heck, it doesn't take a lot of time. We've got these rolls of zip tape, which are awesome tape. I'll go ahead and tape that joint there because our house wrap is a continuous run. That way we get that air barrier. I'm just looking to stop and prevent air from making its way through our wall cavity. But you can see we got that trim up and over around, so now steel can be put on this area and we can work here without getting any dirt or scuffing the metal on the roof, because we don't have that down yet. That'll be after all the wall details are done. All right, guys, my time has come. It is time for me to leave for my trip to Germany for Stabila. I'm gonna leave them in good hands, and they're going to try to whip out as much stuff as possible so that when I return, we're in a great position to finish this thing up. We just got the rest of this steel up and over. The client did add a window right on the other side of this ridge on that garage, so we will have to come back, pull some sheets off so we can do some framing, do a little bit of remodel work, which is never ideal. However, my goal is always to make sure the client is happy, which means sometimes you got to make changes, and I would hate for somebody to ever say, wish we would have just done X, you know, or didn't want to make a change and make the guys upset. I want them to tell me what they want, and then we figure out a way to make it work. So that's done. They're gonna start doing soffit fascia on all these porches, wrapping up any side steel, like over here on the back side of that side wall there that I just got all those flashings done on. And when I get back, we'll see how they did. So wish them good luck, and we'll see you on the next episode.